It was a good effort by our team. It was a great team win. I think in every aspect of the game we did a lot of good things, whether it was offense, defense, or special teams. But as always, we look and evaluate those things, and we're focused on correcting the things that we could do better so that we can continue to improve as a team. It's good to see that we had a couple players, Ryan Kelly and Adam Griffith, Players of the Week in the SEC. You have the Players of the Week for us: Derrick Henry, Kenyan Drake, Ryan Kelly, Cam Robinson, and Reggie Ragland, Dylan Lee, and Ashawn Robinson on defense, Tony Brown, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Adam Griffith on special teams. So, anytime you have an emotional win, you got to get your team to respond the right way and make sure that they're focused on what they need to do to play just as well the next week or better against a very good Mississippi State team that's, ranked and is a very, very, very good team. Dan Mullen has done a really good job there. They're a very physical team. They're well coached. They play well in every aspect of the game. Very good on special teams. Defense is ranked in the top whatever in scoring defense, giving up just like 17 points a game. They're very physical on defense. They do a lot of things, create a lot of problems. Offensively, Dak Prescott has been playing there for a long time, has a lot of experience, does a really good job of executing their offense. And certainly his pass efficiency has been, and their ability to pass the ball effectively to go with their running game has been, something that is going to be a real challenge for us. He can also run the ball, and he's one of the leading rushers on their team. And they have several really good receivers. So this is an outstanding team, all the way around. And, this is not the time for anyone to think that, okay, just because we had what some would call, a big win, that there's any reason to think that the next game is not the most important game that we need to play. And everybody's got to focus and get prepared to do the best job to play even better in that game.
We'll start in the middle with Cecil.
Coach, I guess this is a two-part question, but first, the general improvement on special teams, is that something you've seen coming over the course of the year?
Well, we worked really hard, on it. We were disappointed early on in the way, our specialists performed as well as, the way our teams performed. So I think our specialists have improved and gotten better and done a nice job for us the last few weeks. And I actually do think that we've gotten better on special teams as well.
And part of that special team success, you had a blocked PAT. Is that a move that Ashawn actually practices, or did he just spontaneously jump over it?
No, I think that, we do a lot of beach sort of rush, inside, which we try to get really low and have three guys penetrate and, break the gaps. And we've been pretty good at getting that kind of penetration. And he's always one of those guys. And LSU guys kept getting lower and lower and lower to where they were almost, cutting to the ground. And I'm not saying there's anything illegal about that, but I think he just decided that if that guy's going to be that low, I'm just going to pop over the top. So it was a surprise to us. But
Right here with Mark.
Ryan Kelly got recognized by the SEC, but how the entire offensive line looked when you broke down the film, and how would you grade their performance?
Well, I think that, we played better, to have two guys being recognized. Cam Robinson played probably the best he's played all year. Ryan played pretty well. I'm sure, the other guys gave great effort and played with great toughness, and there's things that we can improve on, and that's what we'll be focused on. But when you run the ball as effectively as we did against a team like that, that's a good defensive team. I think you have to be pleased with that part of it. But at the same time, you see things that we could do better, as well as, we need to have a little better pass protection, not have negative plays, and I think the more we can eliminate those plays, the better off we'll be in the long run.
Back left with Matt.
Nick, two questions. First of all, with the safeties, with Gino and Eddie, how pleased, how happy were you with just how they did in the running game and their tackling?
Well, I think the front seven did a really good job in the running game, and I think those two guys, when they needed to, run support or fill gaps, they did a nice job of it. We were concerned about the fact that, we gave up a couple big plays in the game, which we need to do a better job of. And those are the kind of things that you don't want to compromise, which I talked about last week, and worrying about playing the run and, not being in the right spots when they try to throw the ball over your head. So, a couple of them we weren't lined up on. We didn't get the calls fast enough, which is partly our fault, as coaches. And, a couple other times we just didn't execute the way we needed to.
And second question, I'm not sure how closely you followed the Missouri situation, if at all, but just as a coach, how do you handle a situation like that? How would you handle a situation like that if there's an issue that comes up that players are passionate enough about that they're talking about going on strike? Or
Well, I don't really, first of all, know a lot about the situation there. I haven't followed it. I don't know a lot about it. I will say this, that, we always respect our players, and, when they feel passionate about something, we're always going to listen. But, one thing I can say in general, as a program, as a person, as an organization, we always believe in equal rights for, all groups, and we would continue to support and promote that, with any group on our team. So that's really about all I can say about it, because I really don't know a lot about it.
Nick, given the amount of carries that Derek's had the last couple of weeks, do you lighten his reps during practice at all? And you mentioned Bo Scarbrough. Could he possibly help with that going down the stretch?
Well, we're trying to develop more and more players, to be able to get in there and play some. Derek, I don't think it was our plan to have him carry the ball 38 times in that game or any other game. But, when he's going well and he's running really well, it's kind of hard to take him out, especially in critical times in the game. Kenyan got his bell rung a little bit at the end of the game, and he was having a good game as well. So, we just rather not put an inexperienced guy in a situation like that. But, we try to manage every player in terms of, we use the catapult system to manage every player in terms of his workload, his reps, his explosive movements, to try to make sure that we're keeping guys fresh. And, we certainly do that with Derek.
In the middle with Michael.
First off, you just said Kenyan got his bell rung. Is he okay for practice this week?
Yeah, we feel like he'll be okay. We'll probably not do a lot with him today. We got several guys that, we're practicing pretty light on Mondays now, and guys that are banged up, we don't push the envelope on them. But hopefully he'll be okay soon.
Secondly, just about Dak Prescott, how much has he improved? What have you seen his improvement from the past year you've seen?
Well, he's a really good player last year. I mean, so I don't want to in any way not acknowledge the fact that I think the guy's, been a really good player, but he has, and he's done an outstanding job for them. And he's got a unique skill set of being, I think he continues to improve as a passer. I think his passing efficiency, looking off people, doing the little things in the passing game that really make a difference. He's got really good skill guys outside that have made a lot of big plays. And, he can hurt you running the ball. So the way you have to play against him, he's growing to take advantage of a lot of the things you have to do to try to make sure he's not running it. He certainly can take advantage of you throwing it.
Back to the middle with Alex.
I wanted to go back to Ashawn. Obviously, he came in on some goal line situations. Some of the players mentioned y'all just started practice with him there this week or last week. What went the decision to do that?
Well, we did it earlier in the season. We never used it, so we kind of scrapped it. And, we just felt like, we've been down by the goal line a couple times, and we didn't score. I think we had 2nd and 1 at the 1. We didn't score a touchdown. Earlier in the year, we had a situation where we were inside the 3 and, didn't score a touchdown. And I think you always have to make a decision when, you're sort of a no-huddle kind of go team. And we had a lot of success going fast, inside the 5-yard line earlier on last year, early in the season this year. Now people start, ganging up on you. So we just decided that we needed to focus more on having big people in there, and that, we don't have to gain a whole bunch of yards or make a big play. We just got to gain a yard or two, and that's going to be good enough. So we've always had big people. We just haven't used it as much. I think Ashawn's athleticism really helps us in a situation like that, especially not having a whole bunch of tight ends that are, big guys.
In the middle with John Zener.
Could you talk about what stands out to you about Mississippi State's receivers, especially Duranya Wilson and Fred Ross?
Well, they're both, first of all, Wilson is a very big guy who uses his body well, very physical, receiver, difficult to cover because of the mismatch he creates with the way he uses his body and his size, to help himself, and he's got really good hands. Number 8 is really, really quick, completely different type guy, really good coming out of a break, runs really good routes, and he's had 51 catches or something this year, so he's obviously been a favorite target, but he's a difficult guy to cover. But these two guys in combination are, really two outstanding wide receivers.
John Talty will stay on that side.
You mentioned Mississippi State's defense earlier. They've got a new defensive coordinator, Manny Diaz, but a guy that's been there in the past. Just what have you seen from his defense this year, and maybe what, if any, differences from what Jeff Collins used to do?
Manny's always been a well-respected, defensive coordinator, and we certainly have a tremendous amount of respect for him here. They always play physical. They do a lot of things on defense, which creates a lot of problems in terms of adjustments, pressures, fronts, blitzes, that type of thing. Usually creates a lot of negative, yardage situations, which they've been able to do this year. Get people behind and down and distance, which is not what you want on offense. So, and they continue to do, those, same kind of things. So this is going to be a real challenge in preparation, for our offense, and it's going to be really important that, our guys have a good understanding of what they need to do to be able to execute, against this multiple front defense.
Coach, you guys had 9 penalties against LSU, which you hadn't had that many since the opener. I think it was 11 against Wisconsin. Are you concerned moving forward, or do you think that just was a one-time thing?
It's not a one-time thing. Hell, we had 9 or 10 penalties the week before and 9 or 10 the week before that. I mean, we're last in the SEC in terms of penalties, or first, or whatever, however you put it. I mean, too many, no matter what. So, we've been coaching. We put it up there every week, who gets the penalties, how many they get, why are we getting them. We do it every day in practice. So we need to play with better discipline when it comes to, the choices and decisions a player makes, whether it's a block in the back, whether it's holding, whether it's jumping off sides, being in the illegal formation, false start, offsides on defense, whatever it might be. So we do not want those kinds of things, and we need to do a better job as coaches to try to get our players not to have them. But we've been having them. All right, this is not new. All right, this is not new.
Okay, right here with Ben.
I know you like to focus more on affecting the quarterback than finishing with sacks or anything, but when defensive players are actually able to make contact and finish off a play like that, is there any sort of a mental or psychological effect on a player sometimes?
Well, I don't know. I think it's a psychological effect when you get off the field on third down. I also think, when players are affecting the quarterback and disrupt throws, those are, things that are emotionally uplifting to the defense, as well as the defensive front, who feels like they're making a significant impact in terms of affecting the quarterback. So I can't speak for the players themselves, but I do think, when you get the quarterback out of rhythm, that's something that is certainly beneficial to the defense and helpful to everybody that's out there. And I do think that the players get excited about those kinds of plays.
Up front, Ken.
You mentioned State's passing game, but I was wondering, is there another area or two that jumps out at you where they're significantly improved from where they were at the start of the season up to now?
Well, you know, they've got a very well-conceived offense. I mean, they have a lot of run-pass options, and, all right, I'm going to zone fake the ball and throw a bubble pass out here, throw a slant out here, or throw an out route out there. And, you know, every guy on defense has got to do a really good job because they force you to defend, you know, the entire field horizontally. They've got good vertical passing game, so now they're going to play fake and throw the ball deep. So, you know, this offense is very, very challenging. It's well conceived. Dan does a good job with it. Their players do a good job of executing it. So, you know, this is, I mean, last year they were one of the top offenses in the SEC, and, you know, this year they are as well. So I think that they're probably passing the ball more efficiently would be the one thing that I see is better. Not that they were ever bad at that. They were very good at it, but I think that's one of the things that they're doing even better.
Last two in the back, Joe and Tom.
Hey, Coach, you referenced just the emotion of the win on Saturday and making sure guys come back focused this week. With this team, other teams in the past, is that something that you found that they're pretty good at coaching themselves on when it comes to that focus, or do you need to really deliver the message early in the week?
Well, I think, you know, we want to deliver the message early in the week. You know, you're always hopeful that the players, you know, see it like you see it. And that they're thinking the same way that you're thinking, and they understand what they need to do, you know, so that they can go play well in terms of how they practice, how they prepare for the game, the psychological disposition they need to have to go into the game to be able to play that well on the road, you know, against a good team. So all these things are points that we're constantly trying to make, and hopefully the players reinforce them. I mean, I think that's what you call leadership. In affecting, you know, other players on the team. So, but it is important that everybody get the message.
And I mean, in some ways, kind of along those same lines. I know maturity is a word that you've used a lot with this year's team. How do you quantify that? What do you look for? Is there a way to quantify it? Has that evolved for you over the years as a coach, and how you notice maturity and how you pick up on it with your players?
You know, I'm not a psychiatrist. You know, I've never claimed to be a sports psychologist. So, you know, I know how to coach blocking, tackling, how to cover somebody, how to get open if you're playing receiver, how you're supposed to take steps on the zone block. I do try to influence and impact people in a positive way, and certainly try to get the negative thoughts out of their head. In terms of what they need to do to be able to play well and to execute well. So these are all things that we try to focus and emphasize. For me to quantify, you know, any of this stuff, I don't think I'm qualified to do that. But I think you can tell a lot by a guy's body language in terms of how focused he is, how he pays attention in a meeting, how he goes about his business when we're going through a walkthrough or practice or whatever. And, you know, I think the older, more experienced guys, you know, they've been through more games. They've been through good games. They've been in the locker room when they jump up and down and sing the fight song, and they've been in the locker room when they're very disappointed because they didn't play well and things didn't turn out the way they wanted. So I think those experiences obviously enhance their ability to understand how fleeting, you know, all this can be in terms of if you're not ready to play your best against good people, what the consequences can be. You know, so we want to make good choices and decisions. You know, I made the statement, you know, before is, you know, sometimes people make bad choices and decisions. All right, they create a lot of controversy, and I want to refer to that as a storm in their life, and then they get all pissed off when it starts raining. All right, which is the consequences they got to deal with because of all the decisions that they made. Well, it's no different for our team. So, and I guess if you understand that, then you don't make those choices and decisions to start with. Thank you.